Hey everyone. A couple of friends of mine from the Niche League, the Niche Duel group that we have going, asked me if I would put together some instructions on how to use Google Plus to do interviews and stuff like that. How do we use it on the Roaming Startup Show? So I thought I'd spend a few minutes today, and I'm not so good with instructions. I'm more visual of a person. So I thought I'd put together a visual of how we do it on the Roaming Startup Show. So come on along and I'll show you. All right, so the question is, how do you use Google Hangouts On Air as a way to interview folks and then use that video later for other purposes? So let's just go through it. All this starts from the Google Plus page. Once you get onto your Google Plus, if you don't have a Google Plus account, you'll want to set one up. You want to set one up anyways, in my opinion. Once you're there, under the home button here on the left, you're going to see Hangouts On Air. You click the Hangouts On Air, it brings you this page. This page right here is telling you upcoming Hangouts On Air, ones that are going to be out there, and live Hangouts On Air that may be going on right now. There's a lot of them to watch and worth taking your time and taking a look at. But let's just talk about how to start one. You click on this button right here for Start a Hangout On Air. Once you start that, you're going to see, if you have a camera hooked up to your computer, that it turns on. It's going to ask you to name it. Testing this for training. Then it's going to ask you to invite somebody. For right now, I'll just leave it blank, and I'll start my Hangout On Air. It pops up. There's a few things that I would make sure that you do here. One is, I would make sure that you grab this app right here called Hangout Toolbox. Hangout Toolbox can be gotten on the Google or the Chrome store. It's free. And what it lets you do is a number of cool features. In my opinion, this one is the best. It turns on the lower third a tag so people can read your name. The other item that it does very well is allows you to set up streams so you can watch streams out there. So as an example, I'm going to look for at Roaming Startup on Twitter. And then once I've set that source up, I'm going to see everybody out there who did a at Roaming Startups tweet. We use this to get during our live show, to get questions to ask our guest if somebody has a particular question. All of this, again, is in Hangout Toolbox, which is free. You can look in Google Plus for this. You can for these comments. You can look on Twitter. It's a great item to have. You can also, from here, mute Hangouts, put in smiley faces, send notes to each other. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Hangout Toolbox is worth having. I highly recommend it. So, to start the show, you click the Start Broadcast here at the top. It gives you a 10-second countdown, and then it goes live on the air. Once you're finished, it's a matter of just clicking on the End Broadcast, which is in the exact same item here. This embed button is really important because it gives you a URL where on YouTube the show is going to be at. You'll want to copy that and maybe send it out, tweet it out. We put it into our website. You can do anything with that particular URL, and it is only during the live show that it's there. Now afterwards it stays on that URL unless you make it a private video in YouTube. A couple other items to know. One is the mute button. We mute ourselves when our guest is talking, so we're not overriding each other. You can also turn your camera off if you want to. This adjusts your bandwidth usage. We usually bring it down one notch. All that does is the lower area here, you don't see your guest down here. You only see them on the full screen when they're talking. This right here lets you set up how you're going to talk and how you listen. It does a great job. It's a real simple under settings there. And when you're done, this exits. So once the show is finished, it's ready for you to edit. So let me go ahead and exit out of this now. Our show is done, and I'm going to exit out. Once you reach this level, it's going to tell you that the show that you just broadcasted is on YouTube, and you can go right here and go directly to that show. It's obviously your YouTube channel. That's important to do after the show. It takes it a few minutes for the video to get worked out, but the nice thing about going there right away, as soon as it's finished being processed, if you will, you'll want to probably make it private so you can do something with it, edit it, etc. Okay, so let's go over to YouTube. Once the show is done, it's going to be dumped into YouTube, and it's dumped in a pretty raw format. Here's a show we did with Spencer this past week, and this gives you an idea. It's real raw. And there's Spencer in all his glory talking. I got it muted. Obviously, it's a real raw. We want to do some editing. We want to do our branding on it. We definitely want to watermark it so nobody can grab it and put it somewhere else. That's real easy to do with this tool right here called Jackstra. What Jackstra does is any YouTube video that starts playing, Jackstra records it. As soon as I start, you'll see on Jackstra, it starts to download the video. This one I just started was What is Pinterest? It's downloading it right now onto my drive so that I can bring it into any piece of video editing software I want to and play with it. It's just that simple. After we're done doing a show, then it comes down to some editing. A lot of times I'll have my virtual assistant do the editing, but I prefer to use ScreenFlow when I'm doing it myself. It's a great Mac program. Camtasia works pretty well for PCs, I've been told, although I've never done it that way. Hope you learned something from that, how to use Google Hangouts on Air to do your own show. And leave me a comment below if it was valuable to you or if you had any other thoughts. Take care.